my fellow human beings, and welcome to episode 152 of The Best Plus Life. I'm your best host, Kristen, and today's topic is Dalgona, I'm so sour. Don't just discard, make brownies. Before we get started, I want to thank you all for watching. Please continue to watch, comment, share, like, subscribe, ring that bell, and please pass them on to anyone you think they would help. With that being said, here's our list of things to do today. We have some daily mantras to go through. We're going to talk about positive reinforcement, and we're going to make some sourdough discard brownies, if you didn't get that. Now, the recipe call that I'm following just talked about making brownies. You could top it with whatever you want. So the Dalgona part is going to be the frosting. So I'm making a Dalgona, and if you don't know what that is, that's whipped coffee. It's pretty much equal parts, coffee, instant coffee, sugar, and hot water, which I haven't gotten yet. But I did make my first attempt at sourdough bread. It did not go well. I know what I did wrong, so at least I think I know what I did wrong. So we also think we might be trying a different recipe, but I don't know. If you have an opinion about what I should do next, I'm not going to show you my loaf just because I don't want you to see what it looks like, because I know what I did wrong and I want to fix it first to see if that was the only problem. And then we can discuss if I did something wrong. All right, so for our fudgy sourdough brownies, I'm going to give you the list of ingredients. It's 1 cup of butter, 2 1/4 cups sugar, 2 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate, chopped. So I'm just using semi-sweet chocolate chips. 1 cup of cocoa powder, 1/2 cup sourdough discard, 3 eggs, 1 tablespoon of vanilla, 1 1/4 cups flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of espresso powder, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 2 cups chocolate chips is optional. I do have 1 cup set aside. I already feel like it's pretty heavily chocolified, so I don't want to overdo it. And if I do add anything, I probably won't even add the whole cup. We'll see how it goes. So we preheated to 350, and our 2 options for a 13 by 9 was either line it with parchment paper or spray it with non-cooking spray. And you know, of course, I did the latter because it's easier. Duh. Okay. And then what's going to happen next is I have in this saucepan over here the 2 1/4 cups of sugar. Okay, that's what's in here right now. And then to this, we're going to add these 2 sticks of butter because we need 1 cup. I always double check myself because it always seems like 1 stick should be plenty. I'll probably have more than enough frosting left over because I'm not a super thick frosting layering person. That was a lot of words. Okay. And then we are cooking this until the butter is melted and the sugar has dissolved a little bit. Oh, let me turn on my lights. I always forget this one. I don't know why. Uh-oh. Oh, no, she's out of batteries. Okay. And I realize it still says year 5. So how about that? I have to switch that one for next time. Year, you don't know what year it is. We're all baffled. Wow, I went through that whole episode last week without realizing that. Not last week. It was a few weeks ago. I know I told you I was going to read through the mantras, and maybe I'll intersperse them here and there, because that's kind of what the positive reinforcement is all about. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my new so if you're a new follower or subscriber to my channel, my challenges and my have been going on since I started. And I talked about this last time. The challenges kind of got to be a side thing, and I wanted to make them more of a prominent thing. So what I did was I think I got off track here a little bit already. That's the challenge. So this year, this is all part of the reason why I think I might have forgotten to change like the year on the sign and stuff. Is I want to make it more of a interactive thing. This is supposed to be on medium. I'm kind of a little high. There we go. More interactive, and I feel like putting them as more of a monthly challenge. We'll see how that goes if I remember to change it. But, you know, this way I can check in with you all and see how your challenges are going. I got a bag or so of donations, and I try to donate pretty often. It doesn't make it to Goodwill all the time, but I do have them prepped and ready to go. Okay, so we are to the point where the butter is mostly melted. But now we want to cook this for like another minute or two. And yet I'm really not done melting. But once we're done melting, we'll want to cook it for another minute or two. After it is. Because the point is to dissolve all the sugar, because you don't want all that in your nice fudgy brownie. So back to the challenges and the positive reinforcements. So every year of my channel, I've changed the challenges, and I've changed what my story post is. I got back on track after I started. On my, if you're following me on Instagram and TikTok, it's at The Best Blessed Life. If you're following me on Facebook, it's at Kristen Haas, KristinHass. That's right, 1 A, 2 S's. And if you're following me on Twitter, it's The Best Blessed Life, but the I in life is replaced by a 1. You can follow my stories, and every year since I've started, I've always posted a positive something. So the first year was positive word of the day. And then the next year was positive quotes. And then the year after that, it was positive something. I don't even remember. And then last year, it was, oh my God, I can't even think. Oh, it was positive compliments to pay to people. And now this year is positive mantras. And that's why I decided to call them positive reinforcements, because it's something you can say throughout the day. I know, affirmations. So I'm kind of doing a riff on affirmations, I guess, in a sense. People call them affirmations. They call them mantras. I think more of the affirmation is something you start out with every morning. And then I feel like mantras are something you kind of should be saying throughout the day. I don't know if that always works, but that was what I was going to talk about. So the positive reinforcements are things that you want to remind yourself of constantly. So if you're following me on those social medias, you can see what I post each day, and I'll go through a couple just to give you an idea. I don't think I'm always going to read them anymore. I'd rather be talking to you about, things that are, that continue that positivity, but in other factors of our lives. I talked about journaling. I talked about challenging yourself to make you think outside the box. So it's all part of that whole self-care, self-love, self. Now, some people would say, well, that sounds selfish. But in a sense, and this is the analogy I heard the other day. So if you're on an airplane, part of the safety regulations that you're supposed to follow in case of a crash, or you have to prepare for a crash landing, is to make sure that when the oxygen masks fall from the ceiling, that you put yours on first and then help others, because you can't help people if you can't breathe. All right, so once again we had a computer crash, don't know why, but I was riffing on the fact that we should be giving ourselves some love. Not to say you should withhold love until you give yourself love, but when you're caring for yourself and others, it's best to, make sure that you're rested and fed and treating ailments and things, with the most care. And sometimes, especially women, I'm not saying guys don't do it, but we put ourselves last. And as our kids grow up, we have to realize that it's important to take care of ourselves at every stage, not just at the, ending stages. Okay, so I heated that for a pretty long time. I would say more than 2 minutes. Okay, so now in here, we're supposed to remove it from the heat, and we're supposed to add, I'm assuming, the 2 ounces, which is this little guy right here, of our semi-sweet chocolate is supposed to go right in this batter right here. I'm just double checking. Yes, toss in chopped chocolate and cocoa powder. Okay, so there's the chocolate. This is almost like taffy. That's how whipped it is. And then the cocoa powder. Okay, get this in here. Okay. Okay. We want it all in there. We want it ooey gooey chocolatey. Okay. So we're stirring. I'm kind of folding because I don't want that cocoa like flying everywhere. I'll give you a bird's eye view here. There's kind of where we're at right now. It's intermingling. And we're mingling. And we're mingling. So, that's how I feel about positivity and making sure that I'm not losing myself or, what makes me me. I guess that would be myself. All right. I don't know. This still looks kind of grainy to me. I don't know how I feel about that. Okay. It's melted. I'm not sure it's completely dissolved, though. Okay. Well, while we let it, it says transfer to a larger bowl and proceed to keep stirring it so that it cools down a little bit before we add the things that, I don't know. I'm really concerned about the fact that my sugar still looks a little bit grainy. I don't like that. And I still see chunks. Like it's still not, it's like not hot enough, which is, I find interesting because it was essentially boiling. I'm going to just put it over here for a couple seconds while I make sure the chocolate chips are melted. And I realize I understand I use, sugar, like cane sugar, which is bigger granules. I understand that. But I just want to make sure I'm at least making sure the chocolate is, I think the chips are melted now. Okay, that's really more what I was worried about. I don't know why. Okay, so now I'm going to pour this in here. Make sure I get it all out of there. Now, this is not one of my healthy I don't know if you guys saw last, or the first episode of this year, if you want to put it that way, but I don't know if you guys watched it at all, but the initial scones did not work out real well. I don't know if I missed something. They were very bland, which I talked about that when I talked about how there was no, like, real seasoning. So it was very confusing to me. So I think I just did not pick the best, blueberry scone recipe. So what I ended up doing was putting out a second episode, and I believe that came out on Tuesday. And that talked about how I saved my scones by making a whole different dessert, a layered bar, where I took the scones and I mashed them into the bottom of I think it's a 9x9, but it probably worked for an 8x8 as well. It would just be a little bit thicker crust. And while I'd like to say that overall it was good, and I feel like it was, the scone was just still the kind of the bane of my existence. Now, I talked about when I did the second portion, I talked about how I was very angry with myself for not adding butter and like some sugar to the scones when I mashed them up, because I wanted to treat it more like a graham cracker crust, or somehow some of those like box cake mix recipes that we do, those, how it gets pressed in the bottom with just a little bit of melted sugar. Not melted sugar. Wow. Melted butter. And I don't know how this is working, but it actually looks more granular than when I initially started. So I'm trying to get this cool enough, she says, so that we can put in the eggs without scrambling them. But I don't know. It seems like it's going to be a while. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in the fridge for a minute. I'm just going to put the whole gosh darn thing in there, if it'll fit. My fridge is once again a pretty mess. And Peyton cleaned it out for me and everything. I can't explain it to you. I don't know what happens. She's not going to fit in here. There we go. I got to turn her handle. The door's not going to close. Okay, my La Crusade bowl. Okay, I decided I would sift my flour, because I'm supposed to sift my flour and everything over the bowl once it's cooled down. So I figured what I'd do was I would sift my powdered ingredients now while I'm waiting for the stuff to cool down. Sorry, I'm back. So I don't know where I left off last with what, but okay. So this is a little wet. You like my little, I decided to attach my towel to my, all right, so the vanilla is going to go in with the eggs, and we're going to sift our flour over this. And oh, it also has the flour, espresso, baking powder. And I'm going to just sift this while we're waiting for that to cool down just a scotch. Because I brought my eggs to room temperature. Probably would have been better if I kept them cold. So yeah, I don't know where I am now. That took all of 2 seconds. Maybe while we're waiting, we can start the frosting. I don't know how you guys feel about that one, because I don't think we're cool enough yet. Put this off to the side. That's what it looks like all sifted. Can't even tell there's espresso in there. And that was, how much espresso? 1 teaspoon. So not a lot. What happens with chocolate and coffee, they just go really, really well together. I know I've probably beaten this dead horse a bazillion times. Often, okay, did I forget about the discard? No, I'm waiting for it to cool down for that as well. Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Can I tell you that it's cooled completely? No, I actually created this reverse of a double boil. I made a double cooler. So I put my glass bowl over top of a very icy bath. And it's still pretty warm. I guess I shouldn't have put it in a glass bowl. Maybe metal would have been better, because then the metal would have at least cooled down faster. I think we're getting there, but what I figured I would do is I would add the vanilla. I'm going to add that. And I'm going to add in the sourdough starter once I get this vanilla mixed in better. And then I'll add the eggs in. Because by then, hopefully, she just said a few minutes, didn't she? You stir for a few minutes. I don't think she meant a half an hour. But I swear it's been a while. I could be exaggerating, of course. That's how I am. But, okay. And then here goes our beautiful sourdough starter. Look at that. She's beauty. This is obviously the discard, not the starter. But we named our starter after Dolly Parton. So her name is Dolly Parton. Okay. I think I got it. I think I got it. Okay, now the other thing I wanted to mention was this recipe, which will be put in the link in the description, gave both the measurements in cups and in grams. I weighed, so I did everything in grams. Okay, so now the next thing we're gonna do, I don't know, the texture is really bugging me, but I'm gonna do the mixer for the eggs. I don't know if it recommends that, but I already have it out, so I might as well use it. Okay. I think the bowl feels, I can touch it, which is just a few minutes ago I couldn't even do that. What a crazy day. Then I spilled the vanilla. I don't know if you were on air. I was on air when I did that. The texture is still off. I don't know if I messed up, but you would think the starter would have helped in that department. All right, here we go. Good luck to us. I'm hoping since now they're both probably more at room temperature that it won't be a big problem. I'm trying to think of what I do, because when I make chocolate mousse, it's with, you use, you know, you separate your eggs and you use the yolk in the chocolate and the, oh my word, I can't think straight. All right, I said I was going to whip this. We'll see what happens. And then the egg whites you whip, and then you add that to like the whipped cream egg white. Hello? Egg white portion. I don't know what's going on with me and being able to crack an egg lately. Can't do it. Just can't do it. Doesn't want to. Says, nope, not today. come on, texture. Work with me here. I might add chocolate chips just so it does. Covers up the, that darn sign went out again. I can see it. So, maybe write in the comments what you donated in the last couple weeks. Time, energy, school supplies, clothing. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, why do eggs hate me so? Okay. Maybe you've come up with something new to donate. I'd love to hear that as well. Baked goods, I would do that all day long. Now, we don't need to do the part where it says sift the dry ingredients over the bowl that you're going to put them in. So, we're ready to go. I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Oh my gosh, I have chocolate like under every fingernail and I don't even know why. Okay, yes. Stir until well combined. Okay. It says stir. Maybe I should stir so I don't over mix. I have a habit of doing that. Texture is looking better. All right. I swore it told me to bring out the blender for this. Was I making that up? I guess so. Everything I make is so heavy, so I think that's one of my main issues is that I overmix because I'm trying to overcompensate for something that inevitably went wrong. So I'll be like, oh, let me just mix this more. Not always better. They want it to look like it just came together, I believe is what it says. Stir in. Stir. No, it says stir until well combined. What am I thinking of? It must have been my other recipe that had like 3 lists of ingredients and was so confusing. But yeah, tell me some mantras, guys, that you use throughout the day too, because I would love to. I would even use them on my story and give you some credit if you let me know what it is about that particular one that sticks in your head and makes you not overthink. I'm really trying to avoid that one. See, I overdo everything. I guess that's my MO. Okay, I'm almost, oh my gosh, I'm getting the arm workout of the century today because I first was stirring this to cool it down by hand, and then I tried the mixer thing, and that didn't really do any better. All right, here's the last of our sifted dry ingredients. All right, and then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just throw in some of the chocolate chips. We'll see. I just want to disguise said, I don't really know that this is a batter for a 13 by 9 inch pan either. It must be going to be very thin because this does not seem like a lot of dough batter for, come on, for that much space. I do like mine thicker, but we'll see how it works out. Maybe this is a recipe I do for a 9 by 9 for future, or double it. or 1.5 it. You know, a lot of the Pinterest, I don't know if everybody noticed this. I didn't notice it until, honestly, more recently. But they have these 1 time, 2 time, 3 time, 4 time buttons at the top, so that you can double the ingredients without having to think about it, or reduce the ingredients without having to think about it, because I think they do a half also. I could be wrong. And it's not on all recipes. I don't know if that's something the person is putting on there. I've never asked. I've never uploaded a recipe on there. So I don't know how it works. But it would be greatly appreciated for all of us baking and just cooking aficionados. I don't know, aficionado is a good word. Amateurs that can't do math. It's probably the better way to put it. Love that button. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. I think we're at our peak here. All right, so here's our greased pan. Oh, I was going to throw in the chocolate chips. Here we go. Now, this is a cup, remember. I didn't do the 2 cups. It recommends 2 cups as optional. And I might even just do a half. Because they are so fudgy. And I'm really going to bring home the dark richness with the frosting we're making. So I don't want to get... Just those nice little bites in there are kind of cool. The other thing I was thinking about doing, and I might do this for next time, is make like a small batch of cheesecake, or get that tub of cheesecake and like add that into the recipe as well. Just like when you're dropping it in the pan. Okay, are you going to be a stinker? You are. Okay. Drop. Yep, I'm going to use my finger. Don't judge. You know when they say you put a lot of love into your recipes? That's what it means. It means I've licked the spoon and then proceeded to stir the whole batter with it. I'm kidding. Sort of. Okay. So here we go. I don't know if I can lift this. The nice thing is it's got a spout. Look at how rich that is. Oh, maybe we have more than I thought. Come on out. Okay, so this is going into a preheated 350 degree oven for 22 to 28 minutes. I might even sprinkle or shimmy shake a little bit of salt on the top of these, because it's going to be super rich, and I think the salt will cut through that a little bit. Plus, a teaspoon for all this chocolate doesn't seem like enough. Let's see, I need to get all this goodness out of here. There's so much left. Come on. My hand's starting to hurt. All right, let me see. Ooh, that dug into my knuckle. All right, let me see if I can get all this in here. I am making the mess. That was a good scoop, though. You'd be disappointed if I didn't get that in there. Right? I'll go around. Come on. Okay. I'll scrape it off. In it goes. You notice I haven't licked my finger yet, so you're in good shape. This is such a thick batter that it is clinging to the sides here. which is not making it easy when you're trying to get all the good bits out. Okay. Oh, I just pressed all that. Okay. I think I got it. Okay. Super fudgy and delicious. I wonder what the sourdough is going to bring out in this recipe that I might not have noticed before without it. Because I have made my own brownies before, but the sourdough I do believe is supposed to be more of like a leavening type of thing, but we did add, oh my gosh, I just got it everywhere and it's dripping. Okay, I was gonna do a little bit of, bear with me guys, gonna do a little shimmy shake of salt across the top. I don't want it to be super overpowering, but it does need a little something. All right, so in we go. I'm gonna do the 22 minutes first. Okay, and basically what we're looking for is for the sides to be set. Not necessarily worrying about the, what's madoogles? I gotta get these rinsed off. I'm gonna get set up for the frosting recipe and then I'll come right back. All right, I'm back. So I have my 2 tablespoons, so it's equal parts, 2 tablespoons of hot water, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and 2 tablespoons of instant coffee. And then we're going to mix that. And I have a frother here. I'm hoping will do the trick. We'll find out. I wanted to start mixing it before the hot water wasn't hot anymore. It's just going everywhere though. So we're going to whip this up into a frenzy. Hot water, coffee, and sugar with handheld mixer. Whisk ingredients so they become light and creamy, which is about 10 minutes. And I'm trying to make sure I get all the ingredients. Maybe my bowl is too big. You know, I was trying to give myself room for it to expand. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but we're starting to froth pretty quickly. I don't know if you remember, I made this same coffee for an episode of like all kinds of different TikTok drinks, and I did one with the, well, I did Dr. Pepper, but I think it's Coke and then like marshmallow fluff. And then I think I did like a mocktail. I can't remember what it was called. But that was a fun episode. So essentially we're trying to make this into like a coffee whipped cream. And the longer you whip it, obviously. I'm afraid I have too big of a bowl. This is my only thing. I have too much air to move around in here. And too many ingredients to... I wonder if it's okay to stop in the middle. And get all your froth into one corner. That's what I'm trying to do. You know what? I'm going to do that real quick. I'm going to get it all, because it's really starting to happen. I just need it to be happening all in one section of the bowl. Because I got cocky about it. I want everything to kind of slide down into the corner. Since I already have it in here, I don't really want to have to move it to another bowl. All right, so I'm going to stick you in there. You're going to stay for me. So needless to say, this was really good. The only problem I had with the Dalgona coffee was that you had to add so much, sorry, I'm off camera again, so much cream, and it was too milky for me, personally. I would probably just put it on top of a coffee that had cream in it and use it like a whipped topping. But I don't know, this is going to be kind of rich, and I wonder, because I think the first time I made it, maybe we did use more coffee. I can't remember, to be honest. I hope my battery's not dying. We just changed these, but I feel like it's losing its oomph. Come on, don't give up on me now. Oh my goodness. You would think it would keep going. You know what? I'm going to put you on pause for just a second, and I'm going to keep going. Hopefully I can get this done a lot faster without being distracted. All right, well, I think we're as thick as we're going to get. Here she is. Kind of looks like a fluffy peanut butter. I mean, it still moves. It's not quite as thick as I think I was supposed to go, but it is what it is, guys. It is going to be frosting, so, and there's no other liquid involved, which I found interesting. I just realized now. I hope I didn't forget to write something down. But right now, the only other liquid is the vanilla, so we'll see what happens. All right, so we got that all whipped up. Our next project is to, what are we supposed to do next? In another bowl using a mixer, whisk cream cheese and the sugar, the powdered sugar together. All right, so I'm going to put this in here. I don't want to flatten it. When do I add the vanilla? Add whipped coffee, cream, and whisk on medium until combined. Scrape bowl and whisk again. Huh? Oh, crap. I boo-booed. I combined my powdered sugar and my regular sugar together because I thought they were getting combined together, and I realize now that it's whisked the cream cheese and the regular sugar together, which is on the bottom, and then the powdered sugar is supposed to be added with the vanilla and set in the fridge. So guess what? Yeah, I can't follow directions, even when I wrote them out myself. So what's going to happen is all the sugar is going to go in together. She doesn't really have a choice in the matter. Why does I feel like my apron is all wonky. I don't know. I can't figure it out. So yeah, I kind of boo-booed. But in all actuality, is it really going to mess up too much of the actual recipe? So I just put the vanilla in by itself. I think it'll be okay. So this is our cream cheese. And normally I use light, but I was out, so I'm using regular. And this is our no extra charge for the dog here in the bowl. Okay, so don't do as I do. Do as I say. Don't add the two sugars together. And I'm actually just going to not worry about the fact that it also has Dalgona coffee on it right now, because it's all going to get mixed together anyway. Right? Right. I'm just trying to figure out how this is going to be enough of, what's the noodles? Liquid. I mean, I realize it's supposed to be kind of fluffy, but yeah, okay. Wow, this recipe's taken a long time today. Don't even know what the dealio is. Okay. Besides the computer crash, of course. Okay, so then we add, okay, it's all whipped up. I think pretty good. Looks just like white in a bowl. Let me scrape it down with my little baby scraper. Yeah, I think it's pretty good shape. So now the next thing we do is we add the Dalgona coffee mixture. And whisk on medium until combined. Scrape bowl and whisk again. Okay. So I think it turned out pretty good. I did want to have enough room for it to get bigger. I don't know what size bowl you would use for that little bit of sugar and coffee and water. Not really getting all off the inside either. And I think I need as much of it as I could possibly get off there. Because I feel like it's our little bit of, our little bit of liquid that we need as well, you know? So let me get this all scraped in there. And then we'll see how it looks. If I need to work that hard at it anymore. Or if we're just going to be happy. This might be my new favorite go-to frosting. Especially coffee frosting. Oh my, that's loud. We don't want it to lose its fluff. Give it a scrape like it said. So I whisk again and then it? Yeah. So I whisk again before I add the vanilla. I could see why. You probably want to get all this. I see a little bit of cream cheese mixture. This actually is making a decent size without going overboard. So maybe it thinks more like I do. So hopefully once I share the description and everything, I will remember to put both recipes in the description for this episode. Because this frosting was actually for a chocolate cake. But by then I was already committed to the brownies. And I'm like, I've made espresso brownies before. So why not with a coffee frosting? All right, here we go. Okay, then we add, at this point you'd be adding your powdered sugar and your vanilla. If you were a good rule follower and paid attention to the directions. But here's our 2 teaspoons of vanilla. We're gonna, let me scrape this off of there. My hands are so sticky between this and the chocolate from the brownie. I'm just coated in it. All right, I'm sure we're gonna have to let the brownies cool completely. And this has to cool itself as well. So, okay, there she is in all her glory. We'll show you on the mini cam and the big cam. Sorry, they're distorted colors. Okay, guys, well, we got another minute and 25 seconds before this is ready. I still have to put this in the fridge for a little bit. So we're going to take our last break here. and get ourselves organized, cleaned up, frosting cooled off, and we'll go from there. Sound like a plan? All right, we'll be back in a bit. All right, my fellow human beings. The brownies are all finished. I took them out right when the edges were setting. So we're gonna leave them cool. Now make sure, whoa. Make sure you're following me on social media so you can see the end results. I'm gonna do a couple different posts, hopefully. And yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Positive reinforcements, people. Tell me what your mantras are. Put them in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe, people. What are you waiting for? We're starting our best blessed life right now. So get on the bandwagon. Okay. I think that about covers it. Our frosting is still cooling. Once that's all put together, we'll post it all and it'll be amazing. Okay? And all I have left to say is, I hope you have a good day. Go do great things. Be your best self. And please live your best blessed life. Thanks for watching.